Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. Now, I've already done this once, but when I went to edit my video, my intro was nowhere to be found. So I'm going to tell y'all ahead of time, we're going to be making today a gorgeous pound cake. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I got the recipe. A friend of mine, Debbie Blanks, that I've known for many years, she and her husband Michael, I was neighbors with Michael and his family when I was a little bitty girl. But anyway, they've actually lived with some Amish families and in an Amish community in Missouri, and actually lived off-grid. She cooked on a wood stove and the whole 9 yards. I would love to have visited and enjoyed that lifestyle for a little bit. We were having a little herb gathering last week, and a few of us are going to start getting together every now and then and sharing remedies and old-fashioned methods that are lost through time that we may need again. So anyway, Debbie and Michael were there, and his brother, and Cindy and myself, and anyhow, Debbie brought this cake for us to try. Delicious. So I wanted the recipe, Cindy wanted the recipe. Well, Cindy made one first, and she brought a few pieces, and Troy liked it. And so I got the recipe and didn't have a name on the recipe card, so I'm just going to name it my own name and make it for y'all and share the recipe where you can make it yourself. So let's get over to the KitchenAid mixer. I've got my oven preheating to 350. I'm going to spray my pan and have it ready, and then we'll get over to the KitchenAid and get everything mixed up. And there'll be a recipe card at the end of the video. I needed 1/3 cup of apple butter, so I'm just going to kind of stir around in this apple pie filling to get me some juice as well as apples. And get me out 1/3 cup, and then I'll kind of smush it because they're soft. I'll smush that around and make apple butter out of it. Okay, we need 2 sticks of butter. And I've had them out getting soft at room temperature, which you always need to do that on a cake or cookies or something like that. Pastry dough, you want your butter cold, even kind of frozen where you can grate it. But cakes and cookies, you want to leave it out to get soft. Okay, into my butter, I need 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of granulated sugar. And we're going to blend that, and then we're going to add 3 eggs. Okay, that's pretty well incorporated. Now I'm going to start adding 3 eggs. I'm going to add them one at a time and beat well after each one. There's the first one. Let's add a second one. I'm getting 8 and 9 eggs a day. Ooh, that is a double yolk. How about that? That's a treasure. One more. This one should be extra rich with an extra yolk in it, shouldn't it? And then I'm just going to beat it really well, and then we'll start adding our dry ingredients. Okay, I got them all whizzed up good, and I'm just going to give it a scrape so I can start adding the dry. Alrighty. Okay, we've got 3 1/4 cups of flour, and I'm going to add it a little at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and add my baking powder, soda, and cinnamon. And that is, and salt. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of soda, baking soda, and a half a tablespoon, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now it looks very dry, but when I put the fruit in there, that's going to add a lot of moisture. That zucchini grated adds a lot of moisture to it. Add a little bit more. Now the recipe does not call for pecans, but I am going to add some pecans. You could add walnuts. Okay, I'm gonna do this for a little bit till it's well incorporated, and I'll be right back. Okay, again, I want to kind of scrape it down. Now you could make this into 2 loaf pans, but I think this will be eaten. I don't have to worry about having to freeze it. Okay, now we're going to start adding our grated fruit. Well, I'm just going to add in my apple pie filling because it's going to squish up in there. I don't have to worry about that for the apple butter. Let me just do it this way. I'll go ahead and add my carrots and my zucchini. And I just grated this on a box grater. I didn't use any electric anything to grate it up. If you wanted it finer, you could do that. And I'll add my pecans in just a jiffy. Quit hopping out of the bowl. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and I have 1 grated apple back here in my little mini chopper. And I'm going to put my apple in. And I used a Granny Smith. You can use whatever. Tell y'all something about apples. You can take fresh apples and wrap them in brown paper and put them in your crisper drawer, and they'll keep a long, long time. This is a very thick and heavy dough, and it makes a very moist cake. Okay, now I'm just going to sprinkle in some pecans and a few on the floor. And I'm going to add, this is just me, about a half of a teaspoon of vanilla. And that's homemade vanilla, so it may be equal to a teaspoon if you use just regular bought vanilla. Y'all, it's a little bit of a deal to get all your vegetables grated and everything, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, this is a delicious cake. And okay, y'all, you can get it in this pan that I used Baker's Joy. We got a lot of rain, and my garden looks like it just jumped up and said good morning. I'm telling you, it's so green and pretty and lush. I'm hoping it'll jumpstart everything to hurry up and grow good. That's pretty. My mama baked wedding cakes, I've told y'all that, and catered weddings, and I grew up in a baking house. And she would always take that pan and do it like that to get the air bubbles out. And let me get my thermometer out of the oven and make sure I'm at 350. Booger. We're going to cook it at 350 for about 55 minutes, and then it has to cool in the pan 30 minutes on a wire rack. So let me set my timer for 55, and I'll show y'all when I bring it out, and then we'll let it cool, and then we'll cut it. I want to give a shout out to Shelly Gordon. She mailed me 2 beautiful pot holders, and they're double. She's knit them or whatever and fastened them together. I don't know just how she did it, but she said she sells them, and she was trying to find some, I guess, in her stack that had red in it to go with my kitchen. And let me tell you, they're awesome. And she did. They're red and blue. Aren't they pretty? Thank you so much, Shelly. It just makes my day to go to the post office and I have a package, and I know I didn't order anything, and then when I get up there and give them that little card, it's a prize. Thank you so much, and you're welcome for every video. I enjoy doing this, but I thank you for the little reward. That was some time involved in that. But I just wanted to show y'all what she had sent me. Several of y'all have sent me things. I've gotten pot holders from 2 or 3 different ones, and I've gotten wind chimes twice from Barbara in San Antonio. I love wind chimes, and I love anything for the kitchen. You know I love my pot holders and my little spatulas and all that stuff. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I wanted to mention one more thing that I got. A friend that I've met through my channel, and I'm just going to say her name is Susan. She doesn't want her last name used nor where she lives. But she makes homemade Worcestershire sauce and vanilla, and it'll take a year or 2 to make it. And I've been waiting because she told me she's going to mail me some. Well, I got a package with 2 different kinds of vanilla in it and a little bottle. I don't know why she didn't send me a quart or a half gallon of that Worcestershire sauce. She could drink it. It don't taste like that in the store. Oh my goodness. But I wanted to say again, thank you, Susan, for your gift. I will enjoy that for a long time because I'm being real stingy with it. Okay, I got it out of the oven, and it has to cool on this rack for 30 minutes, and then we'll plate it up on a platter and cut it. It got a little brown on the edges, but the rest of it looks really good, so we'll see what it looks like when I dump it out on the platter. Okay, I got my cake turned out onto the cake plate. I earned this cake plate about 48 years ago from Princess House, and I've had it ever since. And you had to have a party with so many dollars in sales and so many bookings, 3 bookings. And I earned enough. I had enough parties that I got one for me, one for my son when he married, and one for April. And then my mom got one. She earned her own. And then I have an aunt that was always so good to me, my Aunt Helen. And I had another party and earned one for Aunt Helen. They were just something you didn't see in the store, and if you did, you couldn't afford them. So I loved Princess House. I have a whole collection of Princess House from getting it from having parties back then. So I'm going to cut it. Troy's waiting on a piece. I've let it cool 30 minutes. I'll cut it and show y'all what it looks like, and then I'm going to let him eat a piece. Okay, I done cut. Troy's already eaten one piece, and here's his second piece. I'm fixing to take it over there to it. See how pretty it is? You can see the flecks of carrots in it. Makes a beautiful cake. Okay, now y'all got another really good cake to make that's not syrupy sweet, and it's just different. I like the zucchini and carrots and all that good stuff in it. So I'm going to take this piece over there to Troy, and I'm going to have me a real nutritious meal. I got me a piece of bread with some mayonnaise and bologna on it, and that's what I'm fixing to eat with some tomatoes. So I will be back in a day or two with something else good. I'll show y'all the garden because it sure looks pretty after the rain. And we'll might even have some piano playing, I'm not sure. The good Lord bless and keep y'all. Listen, I just read where India is stopping exporting, I think they said coffee and sugar. So all I know to tell you is that's two items that are going to be in short supply. If you don't have some extra on your shelf, you might ought to grab you some. And I'll warn y'all about some more stuff later. The good Lord bless and keep you.